Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the retelling of the story of Esther. This will be from an historical perspective, however, certain creative liberties have been taken with dialogue. Additionally, audience participation will be requested. Photography and videography is condoned and encouraged, but heavy flash photography may distract our amateur thespians and is therefore discouraged. This is the story of a secret kept, a vile plot uncovered, and the love of a king spurned by one queen and accepted by another. Let me take you back in time to when the Medo-Persian Empire ruled all but undisputed in the known world. To begin with, we introduce the king, Xerxes I. Where'd he go?
Right here.
Monarch over the height of the empire's glory with 127 provinces stretching from India to the Nile River. The queen, not the one we first think of in this story, but Xerxes' first queen, Vashti. A woman of surpassing beauty, she was the crown jewel of Xerxes' life. So be it. The 7 chamberlains of the king, who, for the sake of convenience, we shall represent with one man, naming him for the play's duration, Lord Chamberlain. Lord Chamberlain, thank you. And finally, you, dear audience, we call upon to be the attendants at the feast of the king, following his display of power and wealth to the princes of the land. As it is written, and when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people who were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings fastened with cords of fine linen and purple, to silver rings and pillars of marble. The couches were of gold and silver upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble. Now in those days it was not customary for men and women to feast together, so the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house in her own apartments. Imagine now, if you will, a feast and celebration lasting 7 days, as all celebrated the wealth and glory of the king. Now, on the 7th day, the king, being merry of heart with wine, proposed to show the great beauty of his wife to the people and the princes, but not only her beauty as a woman, but the regal glory she displayed with the royal crown shining upon her head, the light of the flaring torches and burning lamps thrown back in 1,000 glories from the gemstones upon her noble brow, to show, one and all, the majesty of his queen, and in so doing, to allow her to be showered with the praises of the whole of his people. So intending, he summoned the 7 chamberlains that served in his presence.
Is this where I'm supposed to cut? My Lord Chamberlain approached me.
What is your will, my king?
Summon the Queen Vashti to my presence, with a royal crown upon her head, and the princes of the land may look upon her beauty and marvel.
I hear and obey, my king.
So Lord Chamberlain went to the queen and relayed to her the message for which he had been sent.
My queen,
Yes, Lord Chamberlain.
the king has summoned you to his presence with royal crown upon your head. What that the princes of the land may look upon your beauty and marvel.
But Vashti refused to come at the king's command.
Yeah, I kind of have a headache and I don't think I'm gonna go.
So Lord Chamberlain went and reported what the queen had said.
She will not come, your majesty.
I have a headache. Boy, I have a headache.
That's what she said.
Seriously? That's her excuse for not obeying my will?
Yes, my king.
So the king was wroth with Vashti, and summoned the wise men of the kingdom. Medokan, wise men, approach.
Yes, I'm wise. I'm wise. You don't get to be so dumb.
Yeah, look at all that gray hair.
A crown of glory, as it is spoken in the book of the Proverbs. And he said to them, What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law, because she has not performed the command of Xerxes by the chamberlains?
So, what do you think we should be done?
You're asking us?
Yeah! Duh, yeah, you're my wise man.
that's fair. Let's see. Vashti was wrong. She has wronged not only the king, but all the princes and the people who are in the provinces of the king. And that when the deed of the queen shall be made known abroad to all women, so that they shall despise their husbands when it is reported that what happened. And there shall be contempt and anger throughout the kingdom.
Well, that's the problem. I need a solution.
Well, obviously, Vashti ain't gonna cut it.
I said wise, not wise guys.
Beat it?
Right.
Oh, beat it. All right. Oh, if it please my lord the king, let a royal command go out from you. And let it be inscribed in the laws of the Medes and the Persians, which cannot be altered, that Vashti come no more before the king. And let the king give her royal position and estate to another more worthy than she. And when the king's decree, which he shall make, is published throughout all of the empire, all wives shall give their husband honor, both great and small.
And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan.
That's a good plan. I like it. The best one yet.
And he sent letters unto all the king's provinces, and to every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people. After these things, when the wrath of the king subsided, he remembered Vashti and what she had done, and what was decreed against her.
Okay, you said find more worthy queen, but in case you hadn't noticed, this ain't The Bachelor. How am I going to find a candidate, much less a worthy one?
Then said the king's servants, let there be fair maidens sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather all the fair maidens unto the palace in Shushan, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Haggai, the chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let the maiden which pleases the king be queen instead of Vashti.
Just an idea. But what if we put The Bachelor Royalty Edition?
Oh, Vashti would love this one. Yeah, how?
Well, summon the maidens from all over the kingdom, send them through Haggai's beauty program, and then stage a meet and greet with your majestically, the one who best pleases my lord the king gets to be queen.
And the thing pleased the king, and he did so.
That is a good plan. I like it.
Now in the palace at Shushan there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai, son of Yair, son of Shimei, son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried from Jerusalem with the captivity of whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away. Mordecai, wherefore art thou? Good. And he brought up Hadassah, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. And the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai took for his own daughter when her father and mother were dead.
So you're my cousin?
Yep.
But you're pretty much my dad, too.
Yep.
How did that come about?
Well, your parents are dead, and I'm your oldest and closest relative, and arguably the wisest. So you became my ward.
So it came to pass, when the king's command and decree was heard, and when many maidens had been gathered to the palace in Shushan, to the custody of Haggai, that Hadassah, also known as Esther, was also brought into the king's house to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women.
Ladies, I am now Haggai, and I will make you even more beautiful than you already are, to give you favor in the king's sight.
And the maiden Esther pleased him, and she obtained kindness from him. And he speedily gave her things for beautification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maids which were to be given to her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids to the best place of the house of the women.
Well, this is very nice, but we need to find perfection for the king. Hark! What light! What light through yonder window breaks? 'Tis the maiden Esther, and the sun her face. You have found favor. Good boy. Get thee to the VIP section, and thy maids with thee.
Now Esther had not revealed her people, nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not reveal it.
Okay, when you're in the palace, don't mention your heritage, okay?
Sure. Any reason why?
There are many enemies of our people in this pagan land, and I would not have you endanger your life by careless tongue.
So don't lie outright, but don't bring it up, because people might want to kill me for who I am?
Right.
But we're the chosen people. Why would anyone want to kill us?
That's just how the dice roll.
I can live with that.
Too soon! And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house to know how Esther did, and what should become of her.
You good?
Yeah.
Now when every maid's turn had come to go into the king, after she had been 6 months of purification with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet perfumes and other things for the beautifying of women.
How's that for a spa routine?
Then came every maid to the king thusly. Whatsoever she desired was given to her to go with her out of the house of the women into the king's house. In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women, to the custody of Shashgaz, the king's chamberlain, who kept the concubines. She came to the king no more, save that the king delighted in her, and called her by name.
Get thee hence and avoid my sight.
Now when the turn of Esther came to go in to the king, she required nothing but what Haggai appointed, and Esther found favor in the sight of all that looked upon her.
Young lady, you are to go to the king tonight. Looks at her for the first time, stops. Now let the rose. What? Now, let the rose perish from envy at your beauty.
You're welcome!
What can I say but you're welcome?
So Esther was taken to King Xerxes in the 10th month, which is the month Tevet, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight, more than all the maidens, so that he set the royal crown upon her head, and made her queen instead of Vashti.
My dear, you are of a beauty that surpasses the glory of all the flowers in the gemstones of the earth in concert. The radiance of your face is to make the sun hide in inadequacy, and the moon turn away to flee in shame.
You're welcome!
This day do I declare you to be the most favored of all the maidens, and crown you my queen.
Then the king made a great feast unto all the princes and servants, even Esther's feast, and made a release to the provinces, and gave gifts, according to the state of the king. And Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Now Esther had not yet revealed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment to Mordecai, as when she was brought up with him.
Hey, if it ain't broke.
In those days, while Mordecai sat in the gates of the king, 2 of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, who kept the door, were wroth, and sought to lay hands on the king.
So it happens tonight then. The 2 of us. Him, and it's done. Get it?
Got it.
Good.
Wait.
What?
What are we doing?
When?
Tonight.
I'm surrounded by idiots. You and I will kill the king tonight. And and be avenged.
Oh, right. Why?
Who cares? It's retrocide tonight. Are you in or out?
Okay, I'm in. I'm in. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it to Esther, and Esther informed the king of it in Mordecai's name.
Esther, your majesty, there's a plot to kill the king by Bigthan and Teresh. You might want to do something about it, eh?
On it. Tell the king of the plot against him and let the matter be investigated.
And when investigation was made into the matter, it was found out. Therefore they were both hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king. Death to the monarchy!
Yeah, death to the monarchy! Guards! Guards!
Guards!
Guards! Guards!
Oh, guards! Thank you. Curses foiled!
Hang 'em!
Blast.
Where's Lord Chamberlain? Make a note of these events.
After these
You have one job.
He has a lot of jobs, let's be clear. After these things, the king promoted Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, and put his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Done.
Haman. Thank you.
Can I try and cover that?
And all the king's servants that were in the gate bowed and did reverence to Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence.
Bow before me.
No.
Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said to Mordecai, Why do you transgress the king's command? Now it came to pass, when they spoke daily to him, and he hearkened not to them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them he was a Jew. Behold, the king's servant approaches. She approaches not. She approaches.
Hey, buddy. The king commanded you to bow, but you ain't bowing. What's your damage?
As a Jew, I will not bow before an Amalekite, a descendant of Esau, and sworn mortal nemesis of my people.
But your ancestor and Jacob and his house bowed before Esau, right? So what gives?
Yes, but I'm a Benjamite. Hence, since Benjamin was unborn and thus never bowed to Esau, no descendant of Benjamin has ever bowed to an Amalekite, and I'm not going to start now.
Your funeral classes. Greetings, your high and mightiness. I know the king gave does about everyone bowing to you. Yada, but does this Jew Mordecai, who says he don't bow to Amalekites, that cool with you?
No. Let's see what he has to say for himself. You bow down to me.
No.
And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then he was filled with wrath. And he thought it scorn to lay hands upon Mordecai alone, for they had shown him the people of Mordecai. Therefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Xerxes.
Hey, 1 second. Only to the king. Why think small? Go big or go home. And, I'm right.
Ooh, this is an evil plot. In the first month, that is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Xerxes, they cast Purim, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day and month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar.
I test for intelligence.
Okay, looks like you get the month of Abada.
And Haman said to the king, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people of the provinces of your kingdom. And their laws are different from all people, neither do they keep the king's law. Therefore it is not profitable for the king to suffer them. If it please the king, let it be written that they be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business, to bring into the king's treasuries.
You most loyal and splendor, Major, I bring troubled news of people scattering in your kingdom. Don't follow your laws, but only their own.
Oi, you always bring me the problems, but you never the solutions.
Oh, I have a solution, my king, if it pleases you.
Yeah? And what's that?
Execute Order 66.
Are you sure this is the way?
Sure enough to bankroll it myself.
And the king took his ring from his hand, and gave it to Haman the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews, and said to Haman, the silver is given to you, the people also, to do with as it seems good.
It's a good plan. I like it.
Then the king's scribes were called in on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all Haman commanded to the king's lieutenants, and the governors over every province, and the rulers of every people of every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, in the name of Xerxes it was written, and sealed with the king's ring. And the letters were sent by posts into all the king's provinces, to destroy, kill, and cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, women and children, on the 13th day of the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
Kill them all, slave them, spike them, and make it through, take their stuff, and keep what you kill.
The copy of the writing for a commandment was to be given in every province and published for all people, that they should be ready against the day.
Yes, my teeth and ambition and board are buried by prepared.
The posts went out, being hastened by the king's command, and the decree was given in Shushan, even in the palace. And the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city was in distress.
Shots!
Now when Mordecai perceived all that was done, he rent his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and went out into the midst of the city, and cried out with a loud and bitter cry, and came before the king's gate, for none might enter the king's gate clothed in sackcloth.
Hey, no mourning garb. People, I have an ambience to maintain.
And in every province, wherever the king's command and decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting, and weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. So Esther's maids came and told it to her. Then the queen was exceedingly grieved, and sent raiment to clothe Mordecai, and take away his sackcloth, but he would not take it. Yo, Mordecai, the queen wants you to cheer up. Put these on.
Yo, Mordecai, the queen wants you to show up and put these on.
Yeah, no.
Then Esther called for one of the king's chamberlains and gave him a command to Mordecai to know what and why the matter was. So Hatak, the chamberlain, went forth to Mordecai, and Mordecai told him all that had happened to him, and all the sum of money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasurers of the Jews, to destroy them. Also he gave him a copy of the writing of the decree that was given to destroy them, to show it to Esther, and declare it to her, and to charge her that she should go in to the king, to make supplication for him and make request before him for your people. And Hatak came and told Esther the words of Mordecai.
Lord Chamberlain, did you find out what's going on with Mordecai?
Yes, my queen. Yes, my queen. It turns out that Haman's bankrolling a genocide of the Jews, and Mordecai has a plan. It's a crazy one, but it's what he's got.
Spit it out. It can't be that bad.
Go to the king and plead for the lives of the Jews.
I spoke too soon.
Again, Esther spoke to Hatak and gave him a command to Mordecai, saying,
All the king's servants and the people of the king's province do know that whoever comes into the inner court without being summoned shall be put to death, unless the king extends the golden scepter, that they may live. But I haven't been called to the king for 30 days.
Do not think that you shall escape the king's house more than all the Jews. For if you remain completely silent at this time, relief and deliverance shall arise for the Jews from another place. But you and your father's house shall be destroyed, and who knows but that you have been chosen for such a time as this.
He makes a good point. All right, speak to him thusly. Go, gather all the Jews in Susan and fast for me, and neither eat nor drink for 3 days and 3 nights. My maids and I will do likewise, and then I will go to the king, which is prohibited by law. And if I perish, I perish.
So Mordecai went on his way, and did all that Esther commanded. Now it came to pass on the 3rd day that Esther put on her royal apparel, and stood in the inner court of the king's house. And the king sat upon his throne in the royal house.
I hate this plan, I hate this plan, I hate this plan, I hate this plan.
And it came to pass, when the king saw Esther standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Then the king said to her, What is your request, my queen? It shall be given to you, even up to half my kingdom.
What can I do for you? Ask, and it is yours, even up to half the kingdom. I really hope it's not that.
If it pleases your majesty, I put a banquet together for you and Haman, that you may come.
Sure thing, my dear. Haman, you heard the queen. Move it.
And the king said to Esther at the banquet, What is your petition? Ask, and it shall be granted, even up to half the kingdom.
My dear, I will appreciate the banquet, and I can't help but imagine some ulterior motive beyond it for your petition. Now then, what's the real request? Ask, and it's yours.
Well, if I have found favor, come back tomorrow for another banquet with Lord Haman, and I will reveal all then. Cool?
Cool by me, Haman. You got any present appointments tomorrow around dinner time?
Do I look like an idiot? Of course not. Even if I did, I don't.
Then Haman went forth that day, joyful and glad of heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he neither stood up nor moved for him, he was filled with indignation against Mordecai. Nonetheless, Haman restrained himself, and when he came home, he called for his friends, and Zeresh, his wife.
I'll get you yet. I get you yet. Honey, I'm home.
Zeresh, wherefore art thou Zeresh? And Haman told him of his glory, of the glory of his riches, and the multitude of his children.
No need to remind me of them.
Of course. And all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king. Haman said, moreover, Esther the queen had a banquet prepared for none but the king and myself, and tomorrow I am to attend another with the king alone. Yes, all this avails nothing to me as long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting in the gate of the king.
All his promotion and power and position it great, and all, but I don't care as long as Mordecai isn't willing to pay due homage. It's driving me bonkers, I tell you.
All right, chill out. I've got an idea. Make a gallows 75 feet tall and talk to Xerxes tomorrow about hanging this pest on it. Then you can trip off the banquet in a good mood.
Sound good, but 75 feet, really?
Hey, you're the one plotting genocide. Go big or go home seems to be the order of the day.
True that.
And the thing pleased Haman, so he caused the gallows to be made.
Like she said, go big or go home.
You said it first.
On that night, the king could not sleep, and he commanded that the book of records of the Chronicles be brought, and they were read before the king.
Oh, sleepless in Shushan.
And it was found written that Mordecai had told Bigthan and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, who had sought to lay hands on Xerxes. And the king said, What honor and dignity has been done to Mordecai for this? Then said the king's servants that ministered to him, There is nothing done for him.
Hold on! So it says that the Bigthan and the Teresh tried to kill me?
Yep.
Yep.
And Mordecai overheard it and warned Esther? Who warned me? Which saved my life.
Uh-huh.
And she was showered with riches and honor for what he did? And he was showered with riches and honor for what he did?
Nope.
No?
Well, let's just say none got listed.
So, no reward.
Right.
Got it. Okay, who's on duty on the outer court?
Now Haman was come to the outer court to speak to the king for the hanging of Mordecai on the gallows he had built for him.
Looks like Haman, Your Majesty.
Send him in. Haman, I've got this guy who did something really good for me and I want to reward him. Any thoughts?
Now Haman thought in his heart, Whom would the king delight to do honor more than myself?
Well, and this is just a spitball here, spitballing here. But if you were to take a role you wore in public, a horse you have ridden on in the royal crown, and have won a the noblest prince of the land the man in the robe and crown sits on the horse and leads him through the streets of the city, claiming this is how the king seems fit to honor the one he delights. And well, I think that would be quite the reward, don't you?
That's a good plan. I like it. Now then, all of that is to be done to Mordecai, the Jew that sits at the gate. Don't forget anything you said. Hop to it now.
What?
Then Mordecai took the royal robe and horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback throughout the streets of the city, proclaiming for him, Thus it shall be done to the man the king delights to honor.
Yay!
And Mordecai went back to the king's gate, but Haman covered his head and made haste to his house in mourning.
Don't look at me.
And Haman told Zeresh his wife and all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then his wise men and his wife Zeresh said to him, If Mordecai be descended of the Jews before you, whom you have already begun to fail, then you will not prevail against him, but shall surely fail before him.
Look, I'm not saying I don't support your megalomaniacal...
Megalomaniacal.
For grandiose revenge, but if you're getting owned by this guy and he be a Jew, your outlook don't look good, okay?
Seriously? Is that what you call a prep talk?
And while they were still talking, the king's chamberlains came and hastened to bring Haman to the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Hey, Haman. Hey, Haman. Hey, Haman, it's time for the banquet. Let's go.
So the king and Haman came to banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said again to Esther on the second day of the banquet, What is your petition, my queen, and what is your request? Ask, and it shall be granted you, even up to half my kingdom.
My dear queen, as flattered as I am that you would risk your life and limbs simply to have me to dinner with Haman, I can't shake the notion that there just might be something else you want. So if it is not too much trouble, ask your petition, and it will be granted, upon to half my kingdom. Let's hope that's not what it is.
Then Esther answered and said, If I have found favor in your sight, my king, and if it pleases you, let my life be given me at my petition, and the lives of my people at my request. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I would have held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Then the king answered and said to Esther, Who is he, and where is he, that dares presume to do so?
Well, you're not wrong. Life and limb is certainly at risk, but not just mine. In point of fact, my petition is that you would save my life and that of my people, for genocide has been plotted against us.
You're kidding, right?
No, my king. Unless you grant my petition, I and my people are doomed.
Who would dare to do such a thing?
Well, since you asked, Haman did it.
Haman! You got some explaining to do.
He doesn't say that. Me?
Indeed, for you plot the utter slaughter of the Jews. Do you not?
Yeah, but
I'm Jewish.
you?
Me.
Hoy.
Oh, this is bad.
Real bad.
Then the king arose in great wrath and went to the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life of Esther the queen, for he saw that there was ill determined against him by the king.
Help!
Then the king returned from the garden and said, Will he attack the queen before my very eyes? And as the words left his mouth, they covered Haman's face.
Oh boy, you've done messed up, Haman. Nobody touches my wifey.
By the way, Haman has gallows built 75 feet high in his house, made for Mordecai.
Hey, go big or go home, right?
How about both?
Oh.
Hang him on it, guards!
So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then the king's wrath was pacified. On that day did the king give the house of Haman, the enemy of the Jews, into the hand of Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was to her.
Your Majesty.
Good job with this one.
And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it to Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
So, about that petition. It's kind of tied up in the letters Haman sent out. If I found favor in your sight, I would ask that you would have it written to reverse those letters. For how can I endure seeing the evil and destruction of my kindred?
Well, as much as I'd like to reverse it, it is written in the law of the Medes and the Persians, which cannot be changed. Now, putting out the law of the Medes and the Persians, allowing the Jews to band together to defend themselves and calling them to kill, slay, pillage, yada yada yada, would also be irreversible.
It's a good plan. I like it.
Boy, she learns fast.
You're welcome.
Then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month, that is the month Sivan, on the 23rd day, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants, and the deputies and rulers of the provinces which are from India to the Nile, all 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, unto the Jews according to their writing and according to their language. And he wrote it in the king's name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by posts on horseback, and riders on mules, camels, and young dromedaries, wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together, and to stand for their life, to destroy, slay, and cause to perish all the power of the people and province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for prey, upon the 13th day of the month of Adar.
Hear ye! All Jews are now granted the right to defend themselves. Kill all that come against them, and take the spoil of the dead on the 13th of Adar.
Thus the Jews had likeness and joy, blessings and honor. And in every province of the city, wherever the king's command and decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. Now in the 12th month Adar, the 13th day, when the king's command and decree drew near to be put to execution, in the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, although it was told to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them and that hated them, that the Jews gathered themselves together in their cities or the provinces to lay hand on all who sought their hurt, and no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell on all the people. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out through all the provinces. For this man Mordecai grew greater and greater.
Who the man?
Who?
You the man.
Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the sword and slaughter and destruction, and did what they would unto those that did hate them.
Kill them all.
And in Shushan the Jews slew 500 men. They slew the 10 sons of Haman, but did not lay a hand on the spoil. On that day the number of those that were slain in Shushan the palace was brought before the king, and the king said to Esther, the Jews have slain 500 men in Shushan the palace, and the 10 sons of Haman. What then have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? Now, what is thy petition, and it shall be granted thee? Or what is thy request further, and it shall be done? Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according to this day's decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows.
Okay, so here's the kill count in Shushan. Remind me not to get on their bad side. Am I right? Anyway, whatever you want, let me know, and it's yours.
Well, since you brought it up, if those of us in Shushan could keep this up through tomorrow, and also hang Haman's sons on the gallows too, that would be great.
And the king commanded it so to be done. And the decree was given in Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons.
That's a good plan. I like it.
For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day of the month Adar, and slew 300 men in Shushan, but did not lay a hand on the spoil.
Kill them all.
And their stuff?
Don't touch.
But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together, and stood for their lives, and had rest from their enemies, and slew 75,000, but they did not lay a hand on the spoil. And on the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same, they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. But the Jews in Shushan assembled together on the 13th day, and on the 14th, and on the 15th day they rested, and made a day of feasting and gladness.
Looks like we're a day late and $1 short.
Esther, we're all $1 short.
We're going to have a big hand for our talented thespians who have
All right, so Did you like the story? All right. If you like the story, Bill O'Reilly's coming out with his new killing series called Killing Haman. So, all right. So, well, hope you enjoyed the evening. Now we're gonna close in prayer, and we have ice cream available. Okay, I don't know what kind, but if you like ice cream, then I'm sure you'll enjoy it. All right. Okay, our Heavenly Father, we thank you that we can come together on your Shabbat and just go through the stories in the Bible that you have for us. And Father, we just want to reflect on the victories that you have given your people throughout the centuries. And Father, we need another victory in our day and age. And so we just pray that you would raise up a Mordecai. And Father, that you would, that would help deliver your people from the enemy. So again, we just thank you for this evening. We thank you for everybody that's come out and those that have made this a special night. And we just want to give you all the honor and glory in Yeshua's name. And thank you for the ice cream. Amen.
Amen. Time.